Today, Environment Secretary Owen Paterson turned his attention from horses to culling badgers. This is what he had to say at the National Farmers Union conference in Birmingham.
Research in this country over the past 15 years has clearly demonstrated not only that cattle and badgers transmit the disease to each other, but that the culling of badgers can lead to a reduction of the disease in cattle if carried out over a large enough area for a sufficient length of time. We must also learn from the experience of other countries, which shows that TB in cattle cannot be controlled without also bearing down on it in the surrounding wildlife population. In New Zealand, the number of infected cattle and deer herds has been reduced from 1,700 in the mid-1990s to fewer than 100 in 2011. This is a result of rigorous biosecurity, strict cattle movement controls, and proactive wildlife management. A similar approach has been successfully deployed in Australia, the Republic of Ireland, and the USA. And this is why I'm committed to ensuring that the pilot badger culls go ahead in Somerset and Gloucestershire this summer.
Environment Secretary Owen Paterson there. So are plans to begin a pilot for culling badgers necessary? Susana Mendonça is in Central Lobby with two MPs. Susana.
Well, Joe, there seems to be a lot of confusion over whether or not this pilot is necessary. Of course, the government talking there about the need to introduce this cull to reduce the spread of bovine TB. We heard Owen Paterson talking about the science there, but there's a bit of uncertainty about whether or not the science shows what they want it to show, and certainly some people think that actually there might even be an increase in the spread of bovine TB and are calling for vaccinations. Well, I'm talking to a couple of MPs here who are interested in this subject. We have Simon Hart, the Carmarthen West MP, and also Caroline Lucas from Brighton Pavilion. Now, Simon, I'll start with you. Now, Owen Paterson says that this cull is needed. What's the evidence? Because we know that bovine TB can be spread from cow to cow.
I think there's quite a lot of evidence, and I don't think any politician of any party would want to do this lightly. And over the years, there's something like one healthy farm animal killed every 15 minutes. Lots of foreign evidence suggests that this is a good thing too, because it's a pilot cull. It's not definitive, but it will prove once and for all whether actually a wider cull is necessary to cure this dreadful disease.
Now, Caroline Lucas, you tabled a motion to stop the cull back in the autumn. There are people out there who would say, well, actually, you know, this is a serious problem. It costs farmers a lot of money. We know that it's cost £500 million over the last 10 years. Isn't it right that the government should do something about it?
The government should certainly do something about it. The issue is precisely because it's as important as you say. They have to do the right thing about it. The point that I am, the majority actually of parliamentarians who voted against the cull going ahead in that motion last year, what we would like to see is an alternative based on vaccination, because we believe that the vast majority of scientific evidence demonstrates that a cull is not effective. Indeed, the biggest pilot of that kind of approach that took 10 years, it cost £50 million, it showed that the cull was not an effective way forward. So given that the science isn't behind this, what we want to do is to do something, for example, like an initiative that's being backed by the RSPCA, which is around badger vaccination. That is ready to go. It could have at least as an effective a response as the cull, at least the same cost or lower. That is a much more effective way.
Simon Hart, why not try this
I think we
vaccination
disagree. We'd all love to do vaccination. Don't believe for a minute we wouldn't all leap at vaccination if it was possible. The European Parliament only this week has said that it's going to be 10 years before there's a legal
difference between cattle vaccination and badger vaccination. I'm talking about badger vaccination.
Cattle vaccination.
I'm just talking about the cattle vaccination, and that's more difficult because of the EU.
Preventing the movement of
Absolutely,
vaccinated cattle.
but badger vaccination, which is what the RSPCA and others are proposing to go ahead with, is perfectly legal to do. They're getting more and more vets trained up to do it, and given that is going to be at least as effective as the cull at no greater cost, we should do it.
I was interrupted, but actually what we really want to see is a combination of things. Better husbandry, better transport, better vaccinations. I'm with Caroline now. There's no point in trying to shout me down. We agree with that, but there is in this evidence that across the world, the only places where we've ever been able to bear down on this disease is where there's been a concentration on animal control as well.
There is an issue with the cost of vaccination, though, Caroline.
Massive. Well, there's a massive cost associated with the Cull, actually, and the proposal around the badger vaccination is that it would come in at no greater cost than the Cull. And given that we've got so much scientific evidence that suggests the Cull is not going to be effective, it's fairer to farmers to actually go ahead with this.
Sadly, we've run out of time. Now, the Cull was delayed last year. Of course, the government wanting to push ahead with it this time round. But as you can see, clearly still a lot of debate in here about whether or not it should do that.